Bonjour les Français, me voici Madame d'hier et aujourd'hui on explique les verbes. Today we explain how French verbs are like Play-Doh. Attends un second. How is Play-Doh a French verb? Well, here's the comparison for me. All Play-Doh starts out as a lump of clay. No one has made any changes to it yet. No one sculpted it or turned it into anything new. But then you give Play-Doh to different people, and they make something with it. Each person makes something slightly different, but the results, all the sculptures, still come from the same type of clay, even if each person has made something different. Like a few weeks ago when I asked you to make a sculpture out of Play-Doh, everybody had the same starting material, that lump of clay. But as you can see from the photos here, people made really diverse things with it. Here are some more examples of what can happen when you start off with clay or paper as your material. You'll notice that every person made something different. I made something different than you did. He made something different than she did. We made something different than they did. Everybody creates based on what inspires them, even if they're working from the same material. So, verbs in French are kind of like that too. If we think about a verb like danser, that's the original verb. It's kind of like a can of Play-Doh. No changes have been made to that. Nobody's used it yet. A verb with no changes made to it has an official grammar word. It's called an infinitive en anglais or infinitif en français. Here are some samples from our activity list. Jouer au football, manger, écouter de la musique. You'll notice in each of these examples that no specific person is doing the activity. That's why it's an infinitif. Once we add a person to it, things change a little bit. So now we give the verb to different people, and it looks a little different for each group. We call this process conjugation, or en français, conjugaison. We have to go through this process every time we want to talk about doing an activity en français. What conjugation means is to change the verb so that we can talk about what people are doing. It's the process of taking that big lump of clay and changing it into something individualized. The great thing about conjugaison for verbs that end in er, like danser, chanter, manger, etc., there's a pattern to follow. Once we know the pattern, we can use it for every verb that's like it. That is super helpful because it allows us to do a lot with just a few steps. Step numéro 1. We drop the ER off the end of the verb. What's left to us becomes the stem, and we use that for each person. So let's look at danser. First things first, we drop off that ER. What's left is our stem, D-A-N-S, danse. We're going to use that for each person. Step numéro 2, we add the right endings for each person. If we go to the pronoun chart, like we've done before, if we're using danser, we do step 1, dropping the ER. Danser, au revoir ER. Danse is left. We use the leftover stem for each pronoun in the chart. So take your time to write it in now. Danse, 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 and danse. Step numéro 2, now we personalize and we add the right endings. The ending for je is e. Je danse. The ending for tu is es. Tu danses. The ending for il, elle, on, yel, and yel is e. Il danse, elle danse, on danse, yel danse, elle danse. The ending for nous is ons. Nous dansons. The ending for vous is ez. Vous dansez. And the ending for il or elle pluriel is E-N-T. Il danse, elle danse. En anglais, this means that each person or each group of people dances. Je danse, I dance. Tu danses, you dance. Il danse, he dances. Elle danse, she dances. Yel danse, they, as a non-binary singular person, dance. Nous dansons, we dance. Vous dansez, y'all dance. Ils dansent, they dance, with at least one male identifying person. Elles dansent, they dance, all a group of girls. Now you're probably wondering, Madame, how am I going to figure out how to say all of these? Happily, the Francais have something they call the boot rule. It's because the chart makes kind of a boot, right? So there's the top of the boot, here's the toes, come around down, and here's the heel. All of the forms that are in the boot, je, tu, il, elle, on, yel, and il and elle, are all going to sound the same, no matter what letters are at the end. Danse, 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 danse. Even though there's an NT, those letters are silent. You do not have to say them, so just stop at the E. Nous and vous are going to be a smidge different. Nous dansons, vous dansez. So on and et. It's only a few letters that we need to remember in order to change verbs en français, but it's important that we remember them in the right order of the pronoun chart. Musique might help you. E, E, S, E, O, N, S. E, Z, E, N, T. Encore. E, E, S, E, O, N, S. E, Z, E, N, T. Use if it helps, not if it doesn't. Finalement, let's look at parler to see how the same pattern can be applied to different verbs. Here we've taken the verb parler and given it to different people. Each person makes something a little different with it. It still looks a lot like parler, but you can tell by the end of the verb that each person has done something a little bit different with it to make it personal. Je parle, tu parles, il parle, nous parlons, vous parlez, il parle, and elle parle. En anglais, that means that each person or group speaks. Je parle, I speak. Tu parles, you speak. Il ou elle ou yel parle, each of those he, she, or they speak. Nous parlons, we speak. Vous parlez, y'all speak. And il or elle parle, they speak. Merci beaucoup les Français, bravo et à bientôt.